After being selected in the 6th round of the 2021 NFL Draft, cornerback Tay Gowan said that he feels like he's going to be the Tom Brady of cornerbacks. I just hope for his sake, he's got better dance moves than Brady. The Arizona Cardinals selected cornerback Tay Gowan with the 39th pick in the 6th round of the 2021 NFL Draft out of the University of Central Florida. Now, whether or not you actually think he's going to be the Tom Brady of cornerbacks, there is good reason to believe that Gowan is going to play above his draft status. Pro Football Focus had Gowan rated as their 69th best prospect and projected him as a 3rd round pick. And it's possible they would have ranked him higher if he hadn't sat out the 2020 season. So the fact that Gowan slipped all the way to the 6th round has many draft analysts identifying him as one of the best late round picks in the draft. And when you look at the scouting report on Gowan, there's a lot of things to like. Gowan is a tall corner who uses his length well to recover against receivers. He's also shown good ball skills and an ability to make interceptions. He's instinctive and aggressive at the point of the catch, and he's good at crowding receivers to disrupt catches underneath. And while he did sit out the 2020 season, he played exceptionally well in 2019. As with any player coming out of college, there's some things he's going to need to work on to reach his potential at the next level. Having only one season as a full-time starter at the FBS level in college, he doesn't have as much experience against top-level talent as some of the other quarterbacks coming out in the draft. Scouts notice that he sometimes has trouble finding the deep ball when he's playing receivers. They also believe he needs to continue to get stronger to compete at the NFL level. Now, he has shown the ability to do that, having added 20 pounds of muscle in his time at University of Central Florida. Scouts also observed some minor issues with the fluidity of his back pedal and transitions. But altogether, many people believe he has the potential to become a starting cornerback in the NFL, and perhaps a really good one. Really, the biggest questions associated with Gowan have to do with the fact they only really have one season of film to evaluate. So, since Tom Brady doesn't play cornerback, let's look at some of the actual NFL cornerbacks that might be good comparisons for Gowan. In order to identify these comps, I employed the same process that I used in my video for Marco Wilson. I started by looking at every cornerback that Pro Football Focus rated in 2020 and looked for veterans whose pre-draft measurables were similar to those of Gowan. From there, I looked at some of the scouting reports that were available on these players on sites like NFL.com and Pro Football Focus, and then narrowed it down to 3 players who I think represent a good range of potential outcomes for Gowan at the next level. Now, the first player we're going to look at is Isaac Yiadom. Yiadom was selected in the 3rd round of the 2018 NFL Draft by the Denver Broncos. As you can see, Yiadom is similar to Gowan in terms of size. His 40-yard dash time is a little bit slower, but his 3-cone drill and 20-yard shuttles are comparable to Gowan, as are his vertical jump and broad jump, though he didn't fare as well in the bench press. Thus far in his career, Yiadom hasn't taken the step to become a solid starting cornerback in the NFL. He has played a reasonable number of snaps, but his Pro Football Focus grades haven't been that impressive. Obviously, there's still the potential that he could improve, but as it stands, he looks like he projects as sort of a 3rd or 4th cornerback on a roster. Yiadom represents what I think is Gowan's floor, the kind of player he'll be if he doesn't develop in the ways we hope. The next player that we're going to look at is Ross Cockrell. Cockrell was drafted in the 4th round of the 2014 NFL Draft by the Buffalo Bills. Cockrell doesn't possess quite the same height or arm length as Gowan, but his speed and movement measurables are remarkably close to those of Gowan. But unlike Yiadom, Cockrell has shown the potential to be a starting cornerback in the NFL. Now, he has bounced around a bit, but his PFF grades are above average for cornerbacks in the NFL. In general, Cockrell profiles as a number 2 cornerback or starting slot cornerback, and he represents the kind of player I think Gowan will become if he continues to develop but doesn't necessarily meet his full potential. The last player we're going to look at represents what I consider to be the high-end comp for Gowan, and that's cornerback Darius Slay of the Philadelphia Eagles. Slay was drafted by the Lions in the 2nd round of the 2013 NFL Draft. Slay is a little bit shorter than Gowan but has longer arms, and he seems to be a little bit faster than Gowan. His vertical jump is about the same, though he did fare a little bit better in the broad jump and bench press. During his time with the Detroit Lions, Slay was considered one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler and was a first-team All-Pro in 2017. And if Gowan were to live up to this comp, he'd be one hell of a 6th-round draft pick. There's one last thing I'd like to mention about Gowan. Since being drafted by the Cardinals, he's done an amazing job of endearing himself to fans over social media. In addition to expressing his excitement at joining the Cardinals and commitment to give the team everything he's got, he's also reached out to fans. In fact, if you follow him on Twitter, he's going to follow you back. And as a Cardinals fan, I gotta tell you, I really want to see this guy succeed. If he lives up to his potential, I think he's going to be a fan favorite for years to come. So is he going to be the Tom Brady of cornerbacks? That's a lot to ask, but you never know. I do think, however, he's going to end up being a much better player than people expected as a 6th round draft pick. So what do you think of the Gowan pick? Do you have a comp for what you think his career is going to look like? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, please be sure to click like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Cardinal Rule.